We are going to talk about how to make the R sound today, actually the initial or beginning R sound. So there are many different ways to teach the R sound, and I am just going to tell you some of my favorite tips and tricks today on how to elicit that beginning or that initial R sound in words such as like red or rabbit, okay? The biggest thing that we want to do is keep our lips from falling forward. A lot of times when kids are saying their R sound, their lips are falling forward. That's where you might hear that oh or whoa kind of sound. And so we want to have our lips and our mouth kind of shaped like a box. We want them to be nice and wide and open, okay? So that's going to be the most important thing to remember when we're saying these sounds, when this sound or these words that we're about ready to practice. So nice, wide, open mouth, all right? And when you see me doing this, that's kind of like my visual to show you to keep a nice, wide, open mouth for our R sound. Next, if you're just starting out learning how to make the R sound, I would like you to start by saying this sound for me. Say E, okay? Not only does that get our lips in the right position, but it also gets your tongue nice and flat, and that's how I want you to start to say your R sound, all right? So you're gonna say E, okay? And you can see my tongue is nice and flat, E, and then I want you to go from the E to the sound, and you're going to just keep your tongue in the same position. You're going to pull it back and lift it up just slightly to make that okay? I'm gonna try to get nice and close so that you can see inside my mouth and see what my tongue is doing, all right? So I'm gonna start by saying E, and then I'm going to lift and pull back for that okay? E, E, and you can kind of see my neck muscles, they're tensing up a little bit. That means that I'm doing it right, okay? You should see your neck muscles getting involved for this sound, okay? So I am going to start by saying a few words that might be the easiest if you're just starting out. And these words all start with that initial R sound, and then they have a vowel sound, and then they end with either a K or a G sound. And why this is easiest to start off is because that K or that G sound also is being produced in the back of your mouth, kind of in the same position of where your tongue is for okay? So your tongue doesn't have to be like lifting up and moving to a completely different spot, which could be challenging when you're first learning out how to say your R sound. So if you want to repeat after me, we'll start with these sounds, and then if you get really good at those, you can move to some of the more challenging sounds that we'll say here in a minute. Okay, the first sound is rug. So when I point at you, I want you to say it, okay? Rug. Rag. Rook. Rock. Rick. Rig. Good. So are you getting your tongue up high? Are you starting off with it nice and flat like your E sound, and then pulling it back just a little bit and lifting it up just a little bit and keeping your mouth nice and wide like a box, right? Okay, here we go. Let's try a few other words that start with that initial or prevocalic R sound, okay? So I'll say it first and then you say it. Wreath. Ring. Rock. Rug. River. Rope. Raft. Rain. Good. Are you thinking about that R? Are you thinking about what your tongue is supposed to be doing when we say R? We don't want your lips to fall forward. So if you start noticing yourself dropping your lips or letting your lips fall forward, get that mouth nice and wide and open again, okay? Rain. Rocket. Robot. Also, I like to remind you to not say your R sound too quickly. Sometimes if we rush through our R sound, it makes it not sound quite right. So we want to hold it out, especially at the beginning when you're learning how to say this sound, okay? Robot. Raisins. Road. Ribbon. Rose. Ram. Rabbit. Rainbow. Radio. You're doing awesome. Keep it up. Raft. Oh, that's a racket. Racket. Raccoon. All right, awesome job. So there are a lot more words that have R in it, and that's for a completely different video. There's words that have R in the middle, and the words that have R at the end, and other words that have different vocalic, we like to call them vocalic R sounds at the beginning, middle, and end. And so we'll do those in a different video. But for today, remember to keep your mouth nice and wide and open like a box, all right, for your R sound. You can start off by saying E, make sure your neck muscles are involved, E, your tongue is nice and flat across, all right? And then go from that E to that you're pulling it back, you're lifting up and you're pulling it back, and you see how my mouth is nice and wide, Don't let your lips fall forward, all right? Any of the words that we practiced today, you can use in a sentence if you feel like you need a little bit more of a challenge for yourself, okay? Just remember and be thinking about that sound while you're using it in a sentence. If you say something that's not perfect, that's okay. Go back and try it again. The more you practice, the better you will get, and keep up the great work.